hello everyone. I think that is all the socials posted anyway about me going live. Is there anything on Facebook, Kim? Yep, it's on Facebook, that's fine. Sweet. Okay. Hi everyone. Well, I say everyone. Welcome to today's stream. Oh, it's loud in my ear. That is also weighing me down. I mean, I think I should just kind of take this as, so this is, I'm doing a new thing because I've realized I can only really do 2 failed to join login queue. That's alright. There's no hurry, clearly. I've realized I can only do 2 streams a week, so I'm going to be doing, hopefully, a weekly segment called The Tip of the Iceberg, which, you know, it's just kind of going into depth about different topics that hopefully will be helpful, might not be helpful, whatever you want, I don't know. And today's topic is about the pursuit of happiness. Oh.
We got a new follower.
Thank you very much for the follow, Precise. So today's going to be about the pursuit of happiness. And before we get started, I'm not pretending I'm an expert in any field whatsoever. I'm not sitting there saying any advice I give in this stream is something any of us should just, you know, live by. But hopefully there's going to be elements in it that any of us, even myself, can find helpful, hopefully. So, I mean, I think what I have come to find in what I have researched is it's stuff that is going to be, I don't know, it on paper it sounds really helpful, but in practice it's quite hard. But again, you know, just the phrase practice, it's something that probably will take time to adjust any sort of life to. And basically, yeah, we're just going to see how we can apply these things and how we could make use of them. Because I know, especially this past couple of years with the likes of lockdown and such, a lot of people have come to terms with issues that they probably haven't come to light in their past. You know, levels of stress, anxiety, loneliness, all these kinds of things that have kind of... Hi, Easy, how you doing? I'm very well, how are you? Just getting into the nitty-gritty of sort of the discussion of happiness and how it is something that we all pursue in life, and just really an outlook on it and how we can probably help each other get to a certain level of happiness, or maybe not so much a level of happiness, because what I'll be talking about is how happiness is kind of like... Happiness is more fleeting in the sense that it's something that comes and goes. You know, things in life make you happy. Things in life are things that, you know, you get that flutter, you get that feeling, you get that smile on your face, you laugh, you those moments, and that's what makes happiness precious, is the fact that they are more moments. Yes, I have got a baby. She's getting fed right now, so I can't show you her. This is probably what's... But I'll be happy when we get our bonus. Well, I think that's happening this Friday, isn't it? But this is what we're also going to be talking about, Precise. We're going to be talking about sort of how money isn't everything. I think a lot of us believe that money is something that is the be-all and end-all of a lot of our problems, and to a lot of extent it is. But what you've got to also realize is that, as I was talking about fleeting happiness, it's something that'll come up, make us happy for a bit. We'll spend that money on whatever we want, and then before you know it, that you've taken what you've bought or whatever that money's spent for, you've taken that for granted and it's forgotten about. And this is what I mean by fleeting happiness. There are different levels of happiness too. You know, there's not just the idea of like, as I said, you have it in fleeting. But you can also have a long-term happiness in regards to, you know, me having a baby. I mean, she's adorable, and Amelia's going to be, you know, she's going to be the root of my happiness for, hopefully, years to come. probably going to be the cause of a lot of stress and anxiety as well. But, you know, I think it's mainly the freedom that comes with it. Absolutely. Absolutely, but then you're pricing, you're putting a price on your freedom now. You're saying that your freedom comes at a cost, where you can make a freedom without it having to cost you money. This is the point, and it's all about freeing your mind. She is adorable. She looks like me, so she must be. Obviously, without the beard. But so don't put a price on that freedom. You're saying that you need this money to be free, which in some senses you do, but in a lot of senses you don't. And it's just about kind of opening up your mind, freeing your mind, taking things for granted. And it's something I will go into a bit more detail in a bit. What you'll find in this talk as well. So the reason this has come across for me is it's that level of I've been looking into Stoicism a little bit, and it was all spurred on by, I think I watched a podcast with Darren Browning, and listened to. You don't really watch a podcast, do you? Anyways, I listened to a podcast with Darren Browning, and I think that's kind of what spurred it on. And he's saying, by no means apply it to every aspect of your life. 100% looks like you, but mine is the beard. Have you seen that grin on her face? I think I posted one where she was dressed as a pumpkin, and I was just like, that's definitely me. That's what I wanted, though, a mini penguin. Right, so where are we? So, as I was saying, I don't believe there's any one philosophy. I don't believe there's one religion. I don't believe there's one psychology. That is 100% right in anything they say, okay? And it's just really, as I've said, it's ideas that I've stumbled across, and I just want to see how we could, if we want to, apply these into our lives. So, it's to a lot of people, and happiness is when life's most pleasant. It's when it's something that, it's when they've got no worries, they're stress-free, it's pleasant, and everything's going right. Reality in life, everything doesn't go right. It's harder to attain this happiness, this optimal idea of happiness that we all believe. And in some senses, it's not. No values, you can get a newt. I forget my microphone's all the way over there. Are the sound levels okay, by the way? Can everyone hear me? Newt, motherfucker. No. Do you like how I've called this tip of the iceberg, by the way? I mean, I had to relate it to a penguin somehow. And it's just about how, things don't always appear as they are on the surface. But anyways, so what I was saying about, you know what it is? That newt has just thrown me. But so, I believe happiness, to my extent, is the avoidance of anger, the avoidance of frustration, and anxiety. Anxiety is something that has recently come to light in a lot of people's lives, and they've never really known about it until the likes of this past couple of years with lockdown and issues with that. So anxiety is really something that we want to combat, we want to get on top of. And this is where I'm kind of leaning towards the idea of, I think happiness, it does exist, it is there, it's fleeting, you can get long-term happiness, but every single human in the world has a certain level of depression about them. Like, everyone's got depression. And this is something that I think does need hitting home. I believe that when people isolate themselves as being depressed or on medications because they're depressed, they're alienating themselves. I 100% believe that gives you anxiety. But depression's something that once you say you're depressed and you're on medication, you seem to alienate yourselves from society. But a matter of fact is every single person in the world goes through some level of depression, and I think people who do take medications for it are people that probably it's just gotten worse over time, so to speak, and they've not been able to manage their anxieties, and it's something that once and this alienation has kind of heightened it a little bit. I'm just jumping on rocks, by the way. I'm going to be, anyone watching me talk about this and watch me play the game, I think I've just paced up and down this same stretch of rocks for about 10 minutes. So that's me combating my anxiety, literally following this cliff face. But basically, right, where was I? Anyways. So yeah, hopefully we'll go into that in more detail. and hopefully we can find some solace in the fact that anyone that thinks they've got depression can now unify with people that do consider themselves not having it, because everyone's got it on some extent. All right. Happiness, in fact, is on a scale of depression, like I've just said. I am really enjoying New World. Thank you. I mean, apart from the pacing up and down I've just done there, yeah. What I figured was, so to help me, public speaking for me is something that does bring on a lot of stress. And I was literally talking to Kim about this literally before I went live. I was thinking I need something to kind of get my fingers going whilst I'm talking, just to like help me talk to people, if that makes sense. I can seem really bubbly in that, but when I was bringing myself to actually do this talk, I found it quite hard. Let's just jump off this cliff. This cliff is not helping me right now. All right, okay, anyway, so what we need to come to light is as well, obviously the likes of, I've already touched on this, lockdown's a massive issue. Our current age, our current day and age that we live in the likes of social media, what is expected of us in life, the pressures that comes with that. Hexgos, thank you very much for the bits. Oops, advert. I apologize for the advert. So basically, we get a lot of anxiety, a lot of social anxieties and pressures that come from society, that come from. We'll watch this clip from Hexgos just because those bitties were very nice.
Stop! Are you fucking kidding me?
All right, so I was going to bring an example in on this later on. Games bring on a lot of stresses, and it's this idea that we go into a game. Pandy, nice of you to drop by. Everyone goes into a game with the idea of they've got to win, I've got to win. There's this hell-bent attitude on it, I've got to win all the time. And, alright, it's nice to win. We all get it's nice to win. We all get it's horrible to lose. But it's about training your mind to this extent where you're not focusing on that win so much. Hydrate, thank you. Hexgos, no values. Pandy, thanks for dropping by. Precise, thank you. Ballistic, it's always a pleasure having you in here as well. So what we have to train our minds to do is not get angry at these situations, not get stressed over these situations. The second we keep... It's kind of a podcast. It's more of a talk. I've got a game on at the side. I know, I'm on stream at last. I was streaming last week, no values. Nova. Oops. But when you play a game, so this is why some games like this are more therapeutic, and the fact that you can just grind along, do a bit of farming. When you go into a game with this thought that you've got to win, it brings on these unnecessary stresses and anxieties that you just don't need in your life. And you can't control whether you win this game or not. You can't control, you know, the outcome as such. You can put your all into it. You can do your damn best, absolutely. But that overarching, so you can put in the prep. You can train every single day. You can have this sense of enjoyment that you want to be really good. You can push yourself to that extent. There are issues and things that you can control in life. But the outcome of that game is not something you can control. If someone happens to be better than you on that day, then you cannot be mad at this. Don't get mad at it. Don't get angry at it. Don't get stressed at it. Everyone's been in that situation when you get super stressy over something and you become worse for it. It's because everyone's scared of this idea of failure. Nobody wants to fail. People forget they can learn from failure. This is what people should be utilizing failure. People forget that sometimes luck has a heavy part in things. It's got a very heavy hand in things. And when sometimes luck just doesn't go your way, but that doesn't mean you've failed. And that doesn't mean that you've not been successful in what you were doing. If you're better at everyone else and everything, well, this is what I'm saying. There is somebody in that world that will be better than everyone at everything. But then when that guy comes to that or girl, sorry, when that person comes to that realization that they're better at everyone, at everything, then what has he got left at the end of it? He stands at that pinnacle. He can't reach any higher, Nova. What has he got left? And this is something I was going to touch on later. And this is what I have already touched on. It's the fact that people put so much energy and time into this idea that they have to be the best at something, which isn't a bad thing. Ambition is not a bad thing, and I'm not saying that at all. But they put their all into this idea of how society thinks they should be, how society thinks they should perform. They should be successful. They should retire early. They should be at the pinnacle of their life before they're even halfway through their life. And then afterwards, they've got nothing to show for it. Well, they have something to show for it, but inside, they have nothing left to drive them on. So it's kind of like happiness, setting aims is good. These long-term aims and goals tend to bring along quite a lot of sadness and frustration, especially if you don't get what you want. This is what I was thinking about it. You need to practice to give dad jokes. I'm already good at dad jokes. Well, I'm not. I'm on the Facebook group for dad jokes, and that'll give me everything I need. But don't worry, like the puns will be going over and over and over. Yeah, host up if you want. Host up if you want. There is no pressure to do this. What I did actually want to touch on was I came to a recent realization that I'm only going to be streaming tonight. Oh, is she? Is she ready? Is she?
Well, she's awake.
I came to the realization that I'm only going to be able to stream 2 nights a week now, and I could do 3, but then with everything I've been looking at, thank you for the host. What I came to the realization was I can't do a solid stream. All the pressure to host up. I don't believe I could do like really good content week in, week out, day in, day out, knowing that I'm working full time at the same time, especially these night shifts and with streaming the times I want to. It wouldn't work for me. My channel wouldn't have the consistency that I want it to have. Thank you very much for the host, Handy. That's very appreciated. So I decided I'm going to do 2 streams a week. One of these streams a week is going to be a segment. It's going to be a chat show, so to speak, a podcast, something that we can openly discuss topics that we find interesting. I'm always open to recommendations of things you want to discuss. That's no issues at all. But today I thought with the day and age we're living in, we need to discuss happiness and what brings happiness and how we can get that happiness. And ease up those levels of anxiety, those levels of depression, those worries, those stresses, those angers. You know, it's what I thank you very much for the host. Thank you, Ballistic. It's very appreciated. So because I've kind of broken the way that I've been wanting to discuss this, look at this. So I've got notes. I have made notes and notes and notes, and it's so weird how I've touched on so many little bits. I mean, a lot of it is regurgitation in regards to they all connect, they all interconnect. Everything that I'm going to talk about, you will see something that will connect to another bit of information. So what we'll just do is we'll just go with the flow, I guess. You know, has anyone got any thoughts on what they consider to make themselves happy? We've already been across money. Money, obviously, it is often believed money. I mean, for somebody in dire poverty, money will definitely ease up on their happiness. What you find is, don't forget to drink. Did I not drink? I thought I drank. Yeah, got to do it properly. Right. Anyways, so have you ever thought? Let's talk about society and its pressures. So. The basic thing we've already talked about, everyone has been raised to think they've got to be somebody. They've got to reach this cusp, this situation where they are considered popular, where they're considered rich, where these characteristics seem to be, in our minds, what makes a person successful. But then people forget about successes that you can have in other areas. Because we're so focused on looking pretty, on fashion, on on all these other things of money and fame and wealth and success in job, that you forget about just being a person who is true to themselves and is you know, does whatever they can to, I'm just putting the notes away because they're just getting in my way, who is true to themselves and does what they can to stay that way and to be a good person, to be a family man. You know, these things, for some reason being a family man isn't considered successful. I mean, it's put into that perfect family life, isn't it? But then this perfect family life that we've got from the 20s, from the 50s, whatever it is. Hey, TV Ninjas, thank you for dropping by. This perfect idea of a family man, a family woman. This idea of a man has to go out, be successful, but because he's successful in business, he doesn't have time for his family, so his wife should stay at home and look after the family. It is so backwards and so wrong. And it does still exist today, but it's changed, it's developed, you know. Now it's a woman can be successful, a man can stay at home. But because this man is deemed successful, a breadwinner, everything like that, nobody considers this person at home successful. And it doesn't make sense. You know, why is being a great mother, a great father not considered a success? It should be. Absolutely should be. And I don't know why it isn't. Why is somebody who doesn't follow fashion, who doesn't think wealth's important, who doesn't want to get involved in social medias and everything, why is that not considered success? Why isn't it? And it might sound like it's someone who, it sounds like somebody who isn't successful would say. I mean, it depends what you yourself deem success and what's going to make you happy. Success makes people happy. Well, hello there, Sivro. Long time no see. How are you doing? Yeah, so, anyone that's in here, by all means, sex makes me happy. So, being a virulent, is that the word? You know, a good lover. Why not? That can be considered successful. I mean, but then sex is another thing, Sivro, that I was talking about before. It's more of a fleeting happiness. But, all right, but sex makes you happy. But sex, in that moment, you feel really, really good. You feel great about yourself. But then that moment's gone. And it's not lasting happiness, is it? You know. I'm having a great time, Bonjourno. Thank you very much for dropping by. It's actually good to see you, because all these people I haven't seen in ages. Thank you so much. In the middle of sex, you cry. I don't know if you're being serious or not. I just don't know.
Oh, Tom, she's bringing up so much.
What's wrong?
She's bringing up so much. I'm covered.
Oh dear. Why have you got no muslin cloth? Do you need it? Where is it?
Right now,
I'm going to get my daughter a muslin cloth. 1 second. You got to change. We'll see what she's like. Because angels deserve to. Oh my God! Right. Okay. so, but what I'm saying is, thank you very much for the host, TV Ninjas. Jay and Nina, thank you very much. So, anyways, what I was saying was, this is an example of a fleeting happiness. Now, is it genuine happiness? Well, I don't know. If you want to. But. You know, if that in the long term makes you happy, if that's a choice that you make to continually have sex to get this cycle of happiness, I guess that's a choice that you can make. Change to just chatting boys more of a catchment? Oh, wait, you want me to change? Do you think I should change it to just chat? Yeah, because I'm not actually playing New Worlds, am I? Yeah, you're right. It's a bit misleading. Go on, then. I actually meant to do that before I, why can't I remember? Oh, there it is. Jesus. Just chatting. What? There we go. Yeah, that would have actually helped. Thank you very much for that. I don't know why I didn't do that.
No, I know, baby.
Alright, that's updated. Close. Sweet! Okay. Right, has anyone got any thoughts or any of their own thoughts? Oh, right, okay. Right, so has anyone got any thoughts so far whilst we are... Oh, what's all that? Before I continue, because I've got a lot of ideas. Yes, you can have a newt. You can have a newt in the toot. So, anyways, what people realize about life is like aims that they've got. Oh, should I do that? Aims that they've got. Can I zoom back? There we go. Aims that they've got, and then shit. And then what you've got is a line in the middle. That's pretty much what life seems to consist of. Your aims and shit that life gives, and that's all it goes. It's just a absolute straight angle upwards. Right, so that's what happiness is, basically. Happiness is that line. Now serious. Okay, honestly, I want people to get interactive. I want people to be involved, because I could just talk at you for the next hour or two, and I don't want that at all. I want your opinions. So why didn't you sleep? So this is a really good point. Tell me more. Why didn't you sleep? Was she alright?
She's making those little squeakies.
Little squeaky noises. I bought a house, got a new car, right? So this is the ideal. Got full ownership of the company. But too much stress. Well, but this is part of it, yeah. So your aims were to get that house. Your aims were to get that car. Your aims were to be owner of that company. Okay? But then with that, you have the shit on this side, at the bottom, which is like the stress that all comes with it. You then drink because of it, which brings hangovers, no doubt. See, so this drinking beer, that's an aim to help alleviate your stress. But then the downside that comes with drinking beer, the health benefits that get rid of it. You know, the health benefits, the health, you know, the damage to your health for it, the hangover you get with it. It actually puts you in a bit more of a depression because of it. And now you're stressed because of how beautiful my beard is. Looking at me makes you happy. Wait, so I'm sitting in my chair, drinking beer, looking at you, and dude, I'm happy. Well, that's good. And because it is chill time, and that is important. It is absolutely right. You need to make sure you take time. So this is what was I literally going to say, and I've kind of gone off on a tangent. But so what you've done there is you're looking at things right now, and you've managed to separate yourself. So what out of everything you're doing, so what can you do about that stress in that company? Now, the stress that comes with that job is out of your control. You're going to be stressed about that job. But what is in control and what you can do in regards to that is come and watch me. Is drink a beer to alleviate it. You know, these are your choices you can make. You can buy a car. You can buy a house. These are your choices. These are in your control. The sooner that we get this idea in our heads that we can let go of the things that we cannot control, then we become a lot happier in general.
Just change.
Well, no, please don't say that. And yes, I do have a nice beard, and I'm glad that you love my beautiful beard, family. Don't use the gun. I mean, I can't imagine the gun bringing in. I mean, that gun will bring stress on other people, I guess, like myself right now. Just the mention of the word gun has made my stress levels go whoop. So this is what I was actually going to talk about in a bit anyway. So, like, it's often that people accomplish these goals, which they do, which you have yourself, but then afterwards, they don't know what to do with themselves. I mean, but you're not retired at that point yet, Sivro. So what I was talking about before was you're at that point where you are well on your way to, well, you're successful, I guess. That's considered successful. You've got your company, you've got your car, you've got your house, but it is making you stressed. But, you know, we all think this is worthwhile because this is what life is about. But then when you retire and you've got a wife, great. Oh, I love... First-time viewer! And he's asking if I want to be famous. We know what to do with him, guys. Or her. What are your plans after? Like, and this is what is your plan after you've done all this? After when you retire, what's your plan, Sivro? What would you want to do?
I want for you to just hit. You've spewed everywhere. Let your tummy settle, and then we'll.
If you don't mind me asking, if it's private, you can tell me to shut up. But anyways, so live until you die. I mean, yes. I mean, that is. I'm 30. Well.
You're 32. Oh, you.
No. Yeah, I'm not saying. I'm reading chat. I'm 32. God. And not still retired. You know what? It was. This is where I'm talking about it again. When I was 16, 17, I had the idea in my head of wanting to retire when I was 30 odd. I was just going to be like, when I'm 30 odd, I want to be able to retire. I want to be successful. But then in my head at the time, that's what it was. And when I was that young, I was like, I don't want kids. I don't want this. I don't want that. And over time, I think it is about developing yourself as you get older. It is certainly about, you know, evolving to an extent where, you know, there is this idea to become successful, to be a breadwinner, to get this, that, and the other. But then you have to then evolve yourself to what is considered a higher purpose, something above yourself. And, you know, I think at the moment, Amelia is something that's definitely, like, above me and takes priority over everything I do now. And I think that's something that I can now put my energy into. And it's just looking for these things in life that are gonna... You can take a shit, that's fine. You don't need to tell me. So, okay. So we've already talked about short-term sasses that make me happy. Exactly. But this is it. Simple pleasures. I love you too, Sivro.
What?
I love you too, man. That's nice of you to say. But, so we've already talked about short-term pleasures, how they bring this kind of fleeting happiness. Yes, so, but what we haven't touched on is not taking things for granted. You can, when you're able to buy what you want, buy what you want, buy what you want, or get what you want, have access to whatever you want, you know, like, people forget some of the simplest things, like when mobile phones were first around, we used to have to pay to send texts. Hi, Hi Voodoo. Nice of you to drop by. We used to have to pay for texts when we first had mobiles. We used to have to, if we pressed the internet button on our phone, we'd shit our pants because that would be a bill. Like dial-up internet. Like the internet speeds we get now is... It's like a fucking rocket compared to like modem internet. Like people haven't experienced this shit. But even myself now, I take that for granted. The sound, the awful sound. No, thank you very much for coming. Everyone that has dropped by right now, thank you so much for coming. In both ways. No. So, but I remember when I never had Sky TV when I was younger. Sky TV was a thing, all the rich kids had it. You know, they could watch wrestling on TV, whatever. To watch even Channel 5 in our house, we used to have to take this little box yellow TV, and we'd have to take it all the way up to the attic. We'd have to take it all the way up to the attic, and we'd have to have a big aerial on it, and we'd have to wiggle it about. And let's watch this video.
I really hope they could hear that fart on your stream.
I don't think they heard
See
that.
somebody sniping you? Like, I got a
She was
sniper
so
in my
loud.
hands, but I don't see
Wee
anybody.
little tutor.
Oh yeah, I
Wee
do.
little tutor.
Heading this way.
Come on, kill him. Yes.
Whoa,
And I bet that moment gave you so much satisfaction. That was a tasty long-range shot. So, but what I was saying was, we used to have to take this box TV, you know, the fatback TVs, and these sort of, what were they, 11-inch, 10-inch, something stupid like that, tiny box-inch TVs. We'd have to take it to the attic. So this is the third floor in a house, wiggle an aerial around so that we could get a blurry, fuzzy wrestling show. It was WCW, I think it was at the time, just so we could watch it on a weekly basis. Like, that is, it's insane that I've gone from that to now having Virgin. I have all the bloody channels. I've got super fast internet. You know, I've got a phone that I've got unlimited data, unlimited minutes, unlimited texts, whatever. And yet I don't take the time in a single day. I mean, maybe I'm doing this right now just by talking about it. I'm doing it right now. I don't take the time to sit there and think, shit, like that used to be the situation. That used to be life. And you don't. Nobody does. No one does that. No one does that. It's mad. And it's such a simple thing. You know, nobody used to be able to order something from Amazon and it would come in the next day. Or the same day, for that matter. It would be a week, 2 weeks. That'd be minimum what you're waiting. 5 working days. You know. Show me... Where's the cat? There's 3 of them. If you can tell me their names, I'll show you one.
She's listening to you, by the way.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad she's listening. She can learn. You know, when I was younger, we never used to be able to afford the likes of proper Coca-Cola. We would if it was on offer, maybe. But we used to have, like, the Safeway own brand, which was, like, 30 pence a bottle or something. And it tasted like arse. But we were grateful that we got it because it was something fizzy and we liked fizzy drinks when we were younger. And we take that for granted. We buy fizzy drinks all the time. Like, it's mad. No, it's no problem, Voodoo. Thank you for dropping by. Thank you very much for dropping by. So it is about, and we will touch on this a bit more later because there are certain exercises that I was going to go through that might actually help in our day-to-day lives. So we will touch on that. And Sivro, I'll see you in a bit. You can lurk. All right, okay, so where was I? I've got these pages of bloody notes. And it's just mad how, you know. Thank you very much for the host. Yeah, so it is mad how a simple change in our thought processes can change an outcome, basically. As I was saying before, if you turn... Yeah, thank you very much for the host. It's awesome. You guys have been stars for me today. So, as I was saying, just with the simple idea of a game, which we've touched on again, if you take yourself out of the necessity to win and just focus on doing your damnedest. Is Modus Beast here? I don't see Modus Beast. Where? How do you know he's here? And just focus on that element of doing the best you can and not doing it as failure if you don't win all the time. And you're already winning, basically. Why can't being a good sport be a form of winning? You know, it sounds like something a loser would say. That's what people would say. That's what haters would say, isn't it? Just being... I know everything. I can see everything. I'm most definitely here. Well, thank you for being here, Modus. But this idea is we need to evolve our thought processes. We need to transfigure, transmorph, transform, transcend everything. Dread, thank you very much for dropping by. You do not have to send me... So this is what I was going to say, and it completely threw my mind. Let's watch this first, though. I've got these clips on because I want to show appreciation for people.
He's jumping. Oh no! He's dead, yeah.
Another one going up.
Another one going up. So what I did want to say was, and I've just remembered this now, so this whole, I already talked about making this stream so I can put really good content on these 2 streams a week that I will be doing. One will be this regular talk thing that I am doing today, every Saturday, and one will now be just, I don't know, I was thinking of some funny other thing, but that'll be future projects anyways. But what I was saying was now, like, there's so much pressure to get good, get all these followers, and be the best in things, which I have already said, that now I just want to focus on putting out good content. Am I still playing? Yeah, of course I'm still playing. La-da-dee, la-da-da. Okay, good. So what I've now said, so my streams going forward are going to be more about content that I can share with you guys, interact with you guys, show my appreciation for what you have already done for me. I don't think I'm going to have the time. I mean, hopefully I can. It might still be an aim in the future, but what I'm thinking now is, because I've got family life to focus on and other things, I'm just going to put out the best content I can for the 2 days I'm doing it. It's simple as that now.
Stinky dust.
And whether it gets me followers, whether it gets, I've hit the point now. I don't care. And sorry, Dread, I don't want to undermine what you've done, because I actually really appreciate the bits. Thank you very much. But when I first started, my focus was to be a full-time streamer, to quit my job and do this, to make money from it, to get followers, to be famous. I don't want this anymore. And whether it's because I've just had, my daughter.
You physically had it.
I physically birthed her, by the way. Kim didn't. I physically birthed her. Because I've had my daughter now, it's put a new realization. It's because I've been reading other stuff as well. This realization in my head that I just want to focus on being the best me and putting out the best stuff I can.
What is that? What's wrong with you?
And these things, I don't want people to come here and spend bits. I don't want people to come here and... she's crying away. She's being a little fuss pot. I don't want people to come here and spend bits. I don't want people to sub even. I want people to come here because I feel like they just want to come and watch. I don't think... I don't know if that sounds really ungrateful or anything, but I don't want people to feel like they have to come here and spend bits and buy subs. I don't even want that anymore. I want people to be here because they want to be here. I want people to get involved with these talks because they think it's interesting. I want people to be here because they can get something out of it. I don't want to feel like I'm doing this anymore because I want to get something out of it in regards to people's money or people's bits or whatever. I kind of turned it around to something that I just want to do for other people, I guess, if that makes sense. It might sound really stupid. I don't know. I've probably gone off on a bit of a tangent. But this is what I want now. I want to help people if I can. I want people to drop by because they want to. And by the way, because of the way my life is at the moment as well, because people have been here, I hope it doesn't mean that I've got to drop by in return. I will do it when I can, where I can, absolutely 100%. And this might have just been a really unpopular thing to say with everybody in here. And I'm sorry if it does come across really awful. I got rid of blurb. I do apologize. Just because it's awful. What do you mean, Nova? Really? But it's genuinely I don't want. I've got a family. I've got things to look after. I'm admitting I can only do 2 streams a week now. I want to put the best content out I can for those 2 days, and I want people to drop by here because they want to be here. And I hope people coming here doesn't mean that you're expecting me to come and see you, because I'm not even sure if I can promise that time and dedicate that time. And as I say, I will try, but I'm saying I can't promise it. And I hope it doesn't bring hate upon me because of that. And I hope it doesn't bring disinterest in what I'm doing because of that. Because if people aren't interested in what I'm doing anyway, then that is fine if it's not their cup of tea. But anyways, this is me going off on a tangent, and it does kind of lead into another thing. It's about being genuine. It's going to be like a podcast. The more you care about the view, and less you care about what you get, the more people will eventually come. Yeah, I guess so. I guess that is a possibility. Either way, whether I lose people because of it or whatever, I'm still going to put my stuff out there, and I still want people to get involved if they can. But yeah, maybe it will. But as I say, my priorities are lying in family and just doing the best I can. This is now a hobby for me. What was like, it was a drive. What was a big ambition to try and get famous, to be big, to get money out of it. It's not that anymore. It's a hobby for me now, and I'm gonna. I want to genuinely enjoy this week in, week out. I think some of the biggest. I was stressing today coming on, but actually I really enjoy it. Yeah. Okay. So this is another topic of conversation. This idea of support for support. Like, people end up following people in their thousands, and thinking that you can support that many people doesn't work. It's not real. And but This is why I want to get away from the idea of people feeling like they've got to give me bits or subs. I don't want it. I don't want it anymore. I don't. I make money in my job to support my family, and it's enough for me right now. And this is it. I don't want. Yeah, exactly. But this is the idea. So this is another thing that brings us onto happiness, because I've gone off on a tangent. So it's this idea in our heads, because we put ourselves out there, because we do everything in our power, because we are the nicest person in the world, because we helped an old lady across the road, because you came to watch me. It's the idea of you can't always expect a reward for doing something. If you truly want to be a good person and do something good, then you can't expect something in return. Like the universe, this is what I heard on Darren Brown's podcast. The universe doesn't give a fuck about any of us. It's a really pessimistic and horrible thing to say, I'm sure.
Well, I hate it when people say things happen for a reason.
Yeah,
Honestly, my
it's the idea that people say, yeah. Well, that's another part of it. When people say things do happen for a reason, like you can't justify the death of, a baby. You can't justify anything like that. And the universe doesn't owe you a damn thing. The universe doesn't care about me. It doesn't care about you. That's where it's down to us to care about each other and do stuff for each other, but not expect stuff in return. Again, it's that kind of thing. And in fairness, right? So, to carry on anyway, but the crux of a lot of this conversation, it seems to be quite morbid. It's like me saying, happiness is fleeting and there's only levels of depression. To say things like the universe doesn't give a shit about you, it is morbid as fuck, and I get that. It might not be something that people want to hear. I get that as well, but it's also it's to hit a realization or a sense of realism that you wouldn't actually get somewhere else. It can be helpful, and the sooner that people do accept things like that, it can be helpful. I'm not saying you've got to be a negative Nelly. I'm not saying you have to now be a negative person because of it. You can go out there and be the best person that you can be. That's what I have already said, and I believe everyone should follow that. Doing the right thing. The universe loves Donald Trump. The universe doesn't give a fuck about Donald Trump. No, it doesn't. Donald Trump's done what he's done through what he's done himself, And as I've said, this is what was I doing? There was actually something that I had about this, and it's on one of these bits of paper, and it's actually really important. I know it's not the most professional thing we have in bits of paper, but I have been writing notes for the past bloody week about this. Every time I've had a break, I've been writing notes, and it was just kind of what you've just said there is really important, and it's about what you can get out of life. Basically, it's effort that you've put in, talent. So this is how Darren Brown put it. It's talent, the talent that you've got as a person, and then it is the This is actually one of the most important things, and I'm actually surprised I don't have that written down. What is it? It's talent and something else. It's like your social presence. It's the raw talent you have, and like the amount that you put yourself out there, the drive that you put yourself out there for, the amount that you show yourself to the world. Your talent and the amount that you put yourself out there generally brings about success. Without one or the other, then your chances of success are a lot less, basically. But there's those two factors, but there's always a factor that I've already said that everyone forgets about, and it's luck. Everyone needs a heavy dose of luck. I guarantee that Donald Trump at some point has had some dose of luck, something that's gone his way. He can put down the groundwork. Everyone uses the phrase, you can create your own luck. Yes, you can to an extent, but it's this idea of, I think Bryan Cranston put it in that he will practice daily. He will put his all into acting, developing his acting, doing what he can. He'll go to these interviews. He'll line them up. He'll go to one after the other, after the other, after the other. Okay, but what he he is not in control of whether they say yes or no. He is not in control of whether they take him on for an acting role. And he says he got turned down time and time and time and time again. And we all know Bryan Cranston, Breaking Bad, Malcolm in the Middle, you know, all this stuff. Like, we all know him for this. But he didn't get anywhere beforehand. And he didn't let rejection defeat him. He didn't let not getting what he turn him off for what he wanted. He just pushed it aside and carried on, because he went away from every single interview saying, I did the best I can. I performed the best I could in that interview. They didn't want me. That was their choice. And it's as simple as that sometimes. This heavy dose of luck of that person that's doing your interview, he just flicks a switch inside him and that person likes him. That can be it sometimes. It can be any interview. That can be anything in life. You know, you walk down the street and Mr. Beast is giving out money. You know, you can put yourself, you can track Mr. Beast down to the extent that you know where he's going to be. You know what's going to happen at any time. And then you can turn up and Mr. Beast just decides in his head, nah, I don't want you. Like, these are the kind of thoughts. Hi, Tangent. Yeah. We've got New World on, but it's really just more of a podcast at the moment about happiness. If any insights are more than welcome. Anything that you guys believe bring you happiness, ways that you can get more happiness out of life, by all means, please let me know. So yeah, it's all about the drive, the talent you've got, like putting yourself out there, and then this heavy, heavy dose of luck that is completely out of our control. And as I say, you'll become a lot happier people when you realize that you can't control everything. And maybe in life, if you just learn to focus on the things you can control, you'll find you will lead a more happy life. Okay, anyways, that is rambles on there. Now, oh, here we go. I was like, this is exactly what I was just talking about. So this is actually a good exercise, actually. I want all of yous, I don't know if yous are there. You can write them in chat. I want you guys to just write in chat things that give you, that bring on stress, that bring on anxiety. If it's really personal and you don't want to share, that's absolutely fine. I completely understand this. But if you guys want to just list some stuff, I mean, it doesn't even have to be real. If there is stuff here that you guys find that brings you stress, that brings you anxiety, brings you sadness, if you just write it down, you know, write it in chat if you don't mind. So like money's a stress, isn't it? Just working and listening to Mr. Penguin. Why, thank you. Okay, anything else? Come on, it's like worries. Let's say the environment. Being around people, absolutely. What else? So, what should we say? Socializing.
Taking a new baby out into public.
Yeah, yeah. Well, baby worries. Am I doing it right? So let's just touch on some of these. So, money. Is money something you can control? And if so, how? Sorry, and by the way, Dark Rebels, I did see you there. Dark Rebels is coming to the channel, guaranteed. Your girlfriend. So let's break that down. So, no problem. Thank you very much, Tangwin. So, I mean, all right. So Nova, let's just go on to your girlfriend, okay? So you cannot control your girlfriend, okay? That you cannot control your girlfriend. That is something that is not in your control. There's a reason she is your girlfriend, though, and they will be, to an extent, you can, exactly, Nova. Yes. So, money you can control. So, people say the homeless don't have a choice in the matter. I mean, is that 100% true?
I wouldn't go there, darling.
Or is it what, a bit too deep a subject?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Why?
Because some people genuinely can't help being homeless.
Yeah, but that is fair. But from that point of homelessness, what do they do to get out of it? I'm not saying, by the way, there are people in worse situations, different situations. I'm not saying every situation is the same, and I'm not saying what I'm saying is right either. Okay, I'm just doing it for the sake of conversation. So anyone that might take offense to anything I say, don't take offense to anything I say, because purely this is just for conversation, educational purposes. So money, somebody's homeless. So what is their choices? Money is, even a homeless person, money's not out of their control. What can they do to control that? Begging. They can beg for money. Begging is a choice. What else can they do to get money? They can try and find a means to tidy themselves up, to then get a job. They can apply for some kind of housing benefit. So I mean, this is the UK. I don't know how much it's like that in America, but in America they can still do things like this. They can apply for some kind of housing benefit, eventually get a house, even if they're put on a huge waiting list. Well, yeah, I mean, you say that, but yeah. But that's not money. We're talking about them trying to get money. But if their aim is crack, and they want to get crack, then they can do that, Nova, yes. It's the idea of there are things in your control. There are things out of your control. And the environment, okay. So, the environment... Let's go like this. The environment. Is it something in our control? Can one person, so this is you, we're talking about you yourself, can one person look after the entire environment?
No.
Exactly. No, they can't.
Big companies keep telling us to do little things, but they're the ones that are actually the cause of the issue.
Yeah. But how can you... No, you don't have to apologize. It was still a valid point. It was still a valid point. You're allowed to behave. I mean, you're allowed to behave. You don't have to behave. So, the environment. One single person cannot solve the entire world's environmental issues. Not one person can do that. However, what can you do for yourself that you can control in regards to the environment? Well, saving the environment is what I mean. And if you're on about general environment, environment is controllable inside a house if you've got, a temperature gauge. If that's the kind of environment you're on about. You can create an environment. But I'm on about, environmental issues around the world. You can do things like, not have open fires, not burn things in the atmosphere, not use spray on deodorants. Things. As a single person, you can get a lot of these issues to help the environment, certainly. So, yes, what you can control, you should certainly adopt that if that's going to make you feel better. In terms of the overarching world environment and, global warming, you can do your bit, but you don't try and control the whole outcome. Because as an individual person, you can't. So in a very stoic way, they would say, just forget about it. It's not worth worrying. The stress, the anxiety, the worry, the anger that all comes with worrying about this overarching thing that you cannot control is not worth the time or the energy. I'm not saying you shouldn't do your bit. I absolutely say you should do your bit, but you should do your bit to the extent that you can control and so that will make you happy. That's what I'm saying. So I'm not being Mr. Anti-environment here before anyone thinks that. I'm just saying you should really do what you can in those regards. Right, next thing, anger. We can talk about anger. Anger is something that we can control. No, that's no problem. Thank you so much for dropping by. Anger is definitely something. Thank you very much. Everyone that has dropped by and has popped in, popped out, thank you very much for stopping by. It's made me feel good about today. Anger. So anger is something we definitely can control. I certainly believe that... what was it? I had some quotes here from different people. Let me get them out for you because this is actually... Or have I written this one down? Okay, so someone who acts out in anger will be their own harshest judge. Now, that is definitely a paraphrase on what the actual quote is. But hey ho, considering that was a paraphrasing, I don't think that was too bad, in honesty. If a man is angry, here we go. If a man is angry, let us give him time to come to realize what he has done, for he will be his own critic. That's Seneca on anger. So, which is a perfectly valid point. If you don't bite back at that anger and become as they are, then in time, if you just play it passive and go off, that own person will come to realize their own mistakes. They'll come to realize their own anger, and they will be their own harshest critic. But the sad thing about that at the same time is it could also be their own vicious cycle because they feel like they don't perform. I've been kicked and you will, it doesn't matter. Because they feel like they can't control their own anger, it generally breeds about more misery and more anger and more discomfort. It's a bit of a downward spiral in that extent. So it's a bit weird in that sense. The best thing to do with anger, and by the way, I'm saying this as though it's the easiest thing in the world. It's not easy. You know, I think my line manager made like a quirky snipe to one point yesterday, and I didn't bite as such, but inside me, my internal sort of anger got me like really frustrated. Now, if I was following true stoic kind of methods, it would be like, it's not worth it, it doesn't bother. Like, it is fine. The phrase that they like to use is, it is fine. So, and this is something that we're going to go on. It's actually quite an important phrase, the phrase, it is fine. But I'm not saying these are easy, quick fixes. There is no quick fix to anything. But anger, if you can channel it into something constructive, like, let's say you're an artist and somebody pisses you off. I don't know, a pedestrian shouts at you or a car beeps at you because, you know, there's an angry person behind the wheel. If you can then, if that makes you angry, but then you then go home and channel that into some art or into something creative, certainly, then I think, or it gives you an angry drive. Let's say it's a rich guy that's really pissed you off, and it gives you that angry drive to suddenly go to work and kick ass and do well because you're like, I'm not having some fucking uppity rich bastard tell me something like that. I don't know, but it's about channeling it into something greater. Again, putting it into something bigger than yourself. As I've already said in the past, be true to yourself is a very important aspect. You know, when combating the likes of judgment, anger, intolerances, you can't let these things change who you are as a person, and not in the slightest. You know, don't let others influence you, your character, or compromise your values, or you lose your temper, because, you know, somebody has said something, or somebody, you know, it's hard for children because this sort of mob mentality, this collective bullying mentality that you sometimes get, it's awful, and I get it, but as an adult, it's a lot easier to try to follow these things. But it does still happen, workplace bullying, things like that. You know, don't let these things change who you are. Oh, because someone says your hair cut isn't something I like, doesn't mean you should get it all chopped off. You know, when you got that haircut and it made you happy, then that's actually what matters more than what somebody else thinks. And it's, again, touching back on this subject of, because we do stuff that we constantly people please, we constantly try and do this thing to make other people happy. You know, I do it myself. You know, I want people to like me. People don't want people to not like them. And it's a horrible draw in life, but don't let it change who you are. Stay true to who you are, and certainly don't lose your temper over things like that. Show anyone and everyone the best version of yourself, and over time, you know, as much as people try and wear you down, over time, people just build a general respect for who you are. They might call you quirky Mary or whatever, but as long as you stay true to yourself, and you can then look back internally and think, I am who I am, and I'm happy with who I am. I'm not who I am because somebody made me who I am. I'm who I am because this is who I want to be. Then that in itself should make you happy. And again, it's another thing that we take for granted. Just simple things like that, being who we are today for whatever reason. That's something that we don't look back at. Become that example for everyone to learn from is the idea, isn't it? Right, okay, so where was I? All right. Oh God, yeah, we have a whole list of things still. Jeez. All right, so we have already touched on that. Keeping stress at bay, we've already done that. So the idea of making use of obstacles. So we all have things in our life that get in our way. I mean, we've kind of touched on this, but we haven't. So, in your daily life, you know, what is considered an obstacle? I'd say, what would you consider an obstacle?
Me?
Yeah. I have an example with me, but I just kind of want to see what other people think. So, what's your obstacle, Fluffy? Being a cat. So, how do you get what you want?
She cries.
She cries. Exactly.
My obstacle would be myself.
But how does her obstacle... So, how does her obstacle not become an obstacle anymore? I'm Fluffy, I'm a cat. That is my obstacle. I mean, it's not considered an obstacle to some. I think you enjoy being a cat personally. But let's say you're a cat and that is your obstacle. How do you turn that from, oh shit, I'm a cat, to I'm a fucking cat? By being the best cat she can be. And using her cat-like ways to lure the attraction of humans to then take care of you. Isn't that right? And if you're not, if you're a feral cat, you use those cat-like ways to hunt and survive. You know, either way, you're turning that to what's considered, oh, I'm a cat. And by the way, I think it's only us that consider cats to be an obstacle. Like, if we were a cat personally, I think I'd like to be a cat, in honesty. But, so let's apply it to ourselves. Humans. What is considered an obstacle? Age.
I'd just say myself.
So how is... Well, that's too broad. How is age considered an obstacle? You're not youthful. You're not full of you're not full of energy. You're not, you know, you're a bit slower. Whatever.
Well,
Okay.
women,
So how do you turn age that's something considered a negative into a positive? Being older, you're wiser, you've got more experience. You know, so a job that can get done quickly because a kid's fast and might not know the process because he doesn't have the experience, but he's faster on his feet. An older person can probably do the job just as fast because he knows the process, he knows the ins and outs, and he's a bit smarter. So it's about using that age and turning it around. I mean, other people's prejudices towards these, that you can't control that, again. But you can control the fact that you're old, and in an interview, certainly, they ask you the question, how do you think your age will affect the job? You say you don't consider it an issue, because at the end of the day, age has brought you wisdom, it's brought you experience. You've got that experience, that wealth of knowledge that these youngsters won't have. So, again, it's something that you've really got to touch on and try and turn these negatives into a positive. And that's what it is. It's really just a form of positive thinking that we've got to get round to ourselves. We have the power to decide what we do when we encounter any negativity, any things that we consider a negative in ourselves, certainly. You know, it's... Yeah, it's mad. Anyways, we've already touched on this already, learning how to fail. This is important, but very valid, and I'm touching on it again because it is very valid. Failure is what gives you experience, and the word failure, you shouldn't really call it failure. It's more like practice misfortune. Practicing misfortune. So failure is like, a lot of people, I've already talked about this, people have these ideas of what they should do, how they should be, what they want to do, what they want to be, and they set these long-term goals, and they get frustrated and angry when it doesn't happen. I mean, I discussed this with Bryan Cranston, didn't I? You just keep going out there, you do it over and over and over again. But make sure that you're doing your all in every situation. If you're not putting your all into everything, if you're not feeling like, if you're not coming away from every situation thinking, I did everything I possibly can in that situation, then I guess you don't have the right to feel like you failed because you've not put everything into it. So in that sense, you've not failed because you didn't put it all in. And then secondly, if you do put it all in and you didn't get what you want, you haven't failed because you actually put everything you could into that opportunity. You were the best that you could be, and it didn't happen because that fucking luck was not on your side. So honestly, it's about how your outlook's on life, and it's a game changer in honesty. We get into this loop of failure that we need to avoid. You know, it's these downward spirals. You know, nobody likes a lot of failure. Nobody likes a lot of rejection. It's like a lot of call center jobs just fall. Well, people get sick of them, don't they? Because this idea of failure and rejection, it's something that humans don't like, and nobody does like it. But in every single experience, so let's say you're in a call center and everyone is saying, no, fuck off, I don't want this, I don't want that. They start abusing you down the phone. As long as you, let's say you're saying a phrase, hi sir, this is such and such from such and such, how can I help you? And then they're like, go away, put the phone down. Then the next time you ring, you try and phrase it differently to try and get their attention more, something like that. Fuck off, put the phone down. Then you tweak your introduction again to try and get them even more, you know, grasp their kind of their interests, and so on and so forth. You can keep perfecting this kind of thing. You can get told 1,000,000 times. I mean, whoops, probably shouldn't say this. But it was like in Family Guy when that Sean Connery's like 50 no's and a yes is still a yes. Like, it's all right, different principle entirely, but it's the same idea of that you have to try that often. And, you know, I'm not just saying try the same thing over again. That's what that insinuates, trying the same thing over and over again. And then when someone finally says yes, this is more like you've got to tweak and move on, evolve and move on, develop and move on. You know, you've got to keep honing your craft, so to speak, to get to where you need to be. And it's important. It is important. Don't be surprised by failure either. It's not, you know, everyone has this idea of putting all of their eggs in one basket, and they don't have a backup plan, so to speak. Don't be shocked at it. Don't let it take you by surprise. Oh shit! What is this? I didn't get the job. Oh fuck! You know, it's like if you go into something and you don't go into something thinking you failed. That's a different thing altogether. But don't be surprised when you don't get something. When you don't get something, as I've said, the universe doesn't give a shit about you. When you don't get something, don't be like, oh, what the fuck is that? Oh, what has happened? How did this happen? Don't think I'll apply for one job, that's it. Put everything into that one job, and you know I'm going to do so well, I'll get that job. It's not going to happen. And so you have to be applying for 50 jobs. 50 jobs, and you have to put your all into every single one of those interviews, every single one of those cover letters, whatever you do. Every single one you have to scrutinize and get it right. And you'll be turned down 49 times, potentially. And then that 50th time could be a yes, because that luck is on your side. But that's what you've got to do. But don't be surprised when you don't get it. It's that surprise that catches you and sinks you into a depression, and then says, what's the point in trying if I can't get it? You know, you can't think like this. It's a downward spiral of negativity that you need to get away from. You know, this is what I was talking about before, talent and energy, putting everything you can into it. We did already touch on this. The best phrase as well, high intention. So put all of your intent into something, but low expectation. Put your all into everything, but don't expect shit back, because the universe ain't giving it. It will eventually, no doubt, but don't expect it. All right, next we're on the agenda. Right. I mean, I think... so yeah, this is one. All right, so... There we go. So, Sorry, I do have notes. I apologize, but hey ho, I wrote a shit ton of notes on this, so I'm sorry. And it's something I've only recently started reading into. So, overcoming adversity. So, firstly, taking pleasantries for granted is a big issue. We've touched on this already, but taking pleasantries for granted, you know, I've already mentioned about mobile phones, I mentioned about TVs, you know, warm showers, things like this. And to sometimes help get that realization again of what you are missing, you know, you need to put yourself in that position where you take a break from something. Like, let's say, you're so used to eating takeaways, you're so used to nice food. Like, let's say you've got lots of money and all you do is eat out, you know. Oh, the world's your oyster, you love eating out all the time. And you take that for granted. And, you know, you need to sometimes sit there and think, right, how can I now put that in a position where I don't take it for granted anymore? Have one of those meals that you had when you were poor before it all happened. Beans on toast. I'm sure there was a few times I've just lived off beans on toast. Super noodles. Something like this. You know, dedicate one day a week, one day a month, whatever you want to do that really reaffirms your position. Do things that reaffirm your position and where you've come from. You know, have these meals. Have a cold meal once in a while. Have a cold shower once in a while. You know, don't have the heating on for a night, because we've all been there. We've all been in that situation. And when you get in a life where you're comfortable, you forget all these things. You forget where you've come from. You know, I remember living in Newcastle when I had a house share with some fucking strange characters. Like, they were proper weird. Like, I say weird, they were just different, I guess. But honestly, some frightening. Like, I think they were robbing each other, weren't they? So they were robbing each other and everything. It was a scary situation to be in. But that's where I had to start off when I came to Newcastle. I had to start in that house share. I was paying £195 a week rent, or was it month? But it was for a box room. It was horrible. Single bed. I was living there by myself. Kim was at university at the time. Before I eventually moved her in with me into this box room, where it was just like two of us crammed in this box room, all of our worldly possessions in this room, because you dare not have them out your room. And it, like, and I forget that we've got a mortgage now. We've got a house.
Scared to go into the living room.
We were scared to socialize in the living room, so we literally lived in this box room, the kitchen and the bathroom. That was our life in that house. And in honesty, I don't think about that enough. You know, it's very easy to be like, oh, we've got a bit of cracked paint, or, oh, you know, like, it's very easy to say, oh, we've got a bit of cracked paint, or we've got, you know, we've not done the dishes, the kitchen's a bit messy. But then, why don't we sit there and look at it at like, well, at least this is ours to moan about it being cracked. At least this is ours to moan about it being messy. You know, this is ours to like. We lived in a box room.
And then we moved.
We now have a house. Like, this is the difference, and it's something that I don't often think about myself. I'm guilty of it. I don't think about these things, and you know, it spurs these kind of streams that get you to talk about these kinds of things. But honestly, just stopping and thinking and appreciating of what you've got and where you've come from, it's huge. It's called voluntary discomfort. Put yourself in a situation where you're voluntarily, like, uncomfortable. Like, watch something on the TV, but sit on the floor instead of using your sofa. Sleep on the floor instead of your bed. Like, and then you'll wake up. You'll probably, if you've slept on the floor, you'll probably wake up with a bad back or something. But then at least, you know, you can sit there and appreciate again, because it's too easy to not appreciate what you've got. I remember when I was young, and I asked my mum to find me. I was obsessed with RPGs. You know, we'd played Final Fantasy games. We wanted something different. I was like, Mum, can you please find me an RPG to play? And she scoured Amazon for hours, and she found me Morrowind, Elder Scrolls Morrowind. And when we got it, I was like, I want something with character creator. I gave her a pretty precise thing of what I wanted, but she found the perfect game for me at that time. Because I played Final Fantasy, I played Baldur's Gate, I played all these, and then Morrowind wasn't out till much later, and she found it for me. And I remember I wanted to play that one game as much as I could at every hour of the day. Of course, I had 6 brothers, so you were sharing the Xbox that we had, so I think I was limited to like 1 or 2 hours a day. But I made the most of those fucking, like, the time I had. And I mean, I probably hogged it a bit as well, I'm not gonna lie, I probably did. But I was so grateful that she not only she found me that game, but that I had a game like that, and I would play it non-stop over and over and play it, do whatever I can to make the most out of it. And now these days I'm so guilty of like, oh, I'll get Assassin's Creed Valhalla and then I'll play it for a bit, and then I want to get Resident Evil 8 and I'll play it for a bit. And it's actually quite horrifying to think that I've come from a position where I was so grateful for that one game and I would play the shit out of it, to now the situation where I take it for granted that I can buy games now so easily. I used to have to do chores around the house to save money for certain games as well. Luckily, Morrowind was for my birthday, but if I wanted other games, I had to do chores around the house. Yes, for this money I have now, I have to do a job, I have to work, but I still take it for granted. And you would have thought because you have to work so damn hard and put the hours in to earn these that you wouldn't, but you do. It's a fleeting happiness, like I said, and it's mad. Absolute madness. So this is why now I've bought New World. I'm going to put the time that I want into it, and I don't think I'm going to play another game for a very long time. Well, until, I feel like I've completely outplayed it. I'm going to get all my craftings up. I'm going to max level. I'm going to do all this. I'm going to take part in the PvP. I'm going to do as much as I can to get the most out of each individual game I get now. I don't think I'm going to be allowed to play a new game for a long time because I've got so many backlogs of games that I now haven't played. And it's crazy. It's crazy. This is it. Interests used to be genuine, and like when you'd want something, you'd fight tooth and nail for it. But now it's too easy and frivolous to say, yeah, I'll get it. Yeah, I'll get that. Yeah, this. Yeah, that. And it's not right, really. It's not right. But that's it, really. So yeah, so a bit of voluntary discomfort. I mean, applies the same. I won't buy myself a game because I'll probably take it for granted. Becoming less emotionally reactive. We have touched on this as well, haven't we? So, well, it's kind of the same. Overcoming adversity. We've touched on that. Resolving conflict. Yes. I mean, that's more to do with anger issues. Is there anyone in chat that wants to put anything forward? We want to, basically the idea of this is not, I don't have the answer to happiness. I have ideas that can probably help you become happier, but I don't have the answer. Nobody has the one answer. It's really more about, reducing stress, reducing life's anxieties. We've already talked about the dichotomy of control, which is you can only control your thoughts and actions. You can't control the rest. And as much as somebody might try and control another human, it is possible, but only to a certain extent, and it's not really right, is it? So here's another good exercise that now, this is a bit like, it's called negative visualization. So basically, what would you do if you lost your job today, basically? I've been through this. I've lost my job 2 years ago. 2 years ago? A year ago? 2 years ago?
Jobs in a year. Yeah.
I've lost 2 jobs in 1 year, basically.
In 2019.
And in 2019. So, 2 years ago. And, I know what it's like to lose a job. I know the financial struggles that you get from it. I know the overbearing shit that comes with it. God help me, I know. I know what it's like to lose a child. I know what it's like, lose a baby. I know what it's like to lose things. So that's why I am so grateful for the job I have right now. The job I have right now, I love it to bits. And it's not even a job that I was like, that I am high up in. I'm at base level on the job. whereas I'm used to general manager or assistant general manager positions. But I love it to bits, and I'm grateful for it. It gives me 3 days off a week now. I work 40 hours in 4 days. We're upping it over the Christmas period, so I'll only have 2 days off. But it's... You're right, baby. But it's... I appreciate it. Nonetheless, you know. Yeah. Oh, you're crying, baby. Come here. What's wrong? You're right. You just want my attention. Yeah.
She might be changing.
You got a poo-poo nappy. She got a poo-poo nappy. Let's have a look. Have you got a poo-poo nappy? Let's check. Yeah. I don't see blue. Come here. Oh, hello, my baba. Hello. Don't cry for everyone. Come on. She's straining. See, she's not affected by light, you know. She's fine.
They're not too bright for her.
What do you think? Is it too bright for you? It's not too bright for you, is it? This is my baby. This is my little bundle of joy. Come on. Right, you struggle to poo. Mummy will probably change you for now. Right, okay, so where was I is the next question. So yeah, it's about a negative visualization. So imagine, and it's a really awful thing to say sometimes. But it's like whatever the situation, no matter how bad it is, it could always be worse, I guess. Oh, baby. Come on. Like me losing my job. Back in 2019. I could have lost my house. I could have lost Kim. I could have lost everything. You know, that could have been one stepping stone to something bigger. And it wasn't. And you've got to appreciate that. You know, sit there thinking things could be worse. What would happen if all your worldly possessions caught on fire all of a sudden? Like, sometimes just sit and think, you know, what happens if there was a world EMP, some big blackout, and they could never run anything electric again? Yeah? Like, what would happen? It's this kind of negative realization. What happens one day if you woke up and you couldn't move?
That's a bad man.
So you've got to face. Everyone faces challenges on a daily basis. A lot of the challenges I've said, there's probably people already facing these challenges. I've certainly faced them in my lifetime, you know. But then it's about, again, training your thought, your sense of thoughts, baby, into it could be worse. No matter the issue, it could be worse. So the biggest phrase that I probably should have touched on a long time ago and I didn't. It's well, we're going on about training thought again. It's the phrase "it is okay," and it's not just a frivolous kind of like, yeah, it's okay, it's fine. That's dismissive. We're not on about dismissive kind of it's okay. Someone's angry at you one day. Shout their guts up. Rather than react and get volatile and fight back, you'll sit there and say, "No, it's fine." But a genuine, "It's fine." You don't say it to them, obviously, because that's going to elicit a reaction. You walk away, ignore it, and then you walk down the street and be like, "It is fine." Why is it fine? Why is it fine? Why is he angry? Why is he being like this? Why is it fine? Because he's an angry individual. Probably something's happened that we don't know about. Any of these reasons. Does it have to affect you? No, it doesn't have to affect you. Does it have to upset you? No, it doesn't have to affect you. Because it's been and gone. So what is there any... Take this part that you can control is the way it affects you. And then cast it away. Now, I know it's harder than it sounds. I've already said this. But it's something that you've got to try and adopt sometimes. You know. Like... He's the one that's angry. He's the one that's going to be feeling bad later. He's the one that's, you know, got shit going on. So why burden yourself with that? It's not worth it, is it? You know, it is okay. Prepare. Yeah. Try to understand things as opposed to being dismissive of them. Doing this, trying to understand does two things. It can prepare you for the worst case scenarios. And it puts things into perspective and practices more gratitude. Okay? So, I don't know. I need an example. Is there anyone still in chat that wants to provide examples?
It's all over me. Yeah, I know. You're not happy because you peed everywhere.
Anyways, no, but this is kind of what negative visualization does anyway. It puts things into perspective for you, and it practices more gratitude for you. And so it's this idea of not surprising ourselves again. It's preparing you for the worst case scenarios. It's practicing the fact that something might happen. And oh dear. In honesty, I think that's pretty much wrapped up everything I've got to say. If anyone's got any feedback, let me know. If there's any topics that people want to talk about, please feel free. Is an hour and a half too long for like a talk thing?
No, that's not right. I would call it that.
Yeah? Anyways, please, I would love feedback on how it went. Give me some thoughts. Give me some love, whatever. But I want to make this the best I can. So if you guys can give me some insight into what I might have done right, what I might have done wrong. I mean, I feel like having these the notes in front of me and the prep like that doesn't look professional, but it was a base. I've got a starting base now, and I'm looking to improve. Constructive criticism, please don't just send me hatred. I don't want hatred. Please let me know. Anyways, thank you very much. This is episode 1 of Tip of the Iceberg with Flame and Penguin Gaming. Yes, I don't know if I've copied like that name from something, but I thought it was really cool. I know it's a saying, but like, I don't know. Give me some ideas on what else we can chat about, because I'd be very interested to know. And I might actually, I'm going to post in all the different Discords as well for some feedback, just to make sure. But please let me know. Probably maybe more coherence and less ramblings, but there you go, that's what happens. Or maybe next time I could bring somebody on to actually chat in a Discord with me. That might actually be a fun option. Make it more of a chat show. And have someone, that's why I was using Kim to chat to. Kim's ideas. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, everyone. And, I mean, until this time next week, see you later. Bye now, adieu.